got my new Oida hat. See that? They sent me two of them for some reason. We got our morning coffee. That's the most important thing. With the skull. Jonathan Wheeler, you are the first one in here. I've already booked my load for today. It's a good thing I put a lot of time on it. Because, wait a minute. Normally when I get here, there's about trucks at the most. But today there's 1, 2, 3. I think I'm the 5th truck in line. So, for some reason, it only got one dock for my product. It's this big, huge facility with 20 docks over there. But hey, last time I was here, it took them 30 minutes. So, win some, you lose some. I guess my notifications haven't gotten out yet. So, I'll have to read that phone. Let's see, let's go to my videos. Yeah, it's not doing it. What is up, everybody? I'll read the comments here in a minute. Waiting for the phone so I don't have to squint at the camera. There we are. There it is. Phone so I don't have to squint at the camera. That now, because I hate the sound of my own voice. You guys hate the sound of your own voice. Have you noticed that? No, I'm not at the caves. Will be though. If I ever get out of here. Even as a singer, very rarely do I like my own singing. But that's okay. There's probably a lot of people that don't either. So that's fine. Let's see. Jonathan Wheeler, John Armstrong just bought 3 million plus Shiba. Yeah, I saw that live feed last night. I think you were in there saying that you didn't like Shiba, that you were all about XRP or whatever. I guess you changed your mind. I might buy into that a little bit if Robinhood ever gets it. It's supposed to be by the end of the month. By that time, the wave will be over, and I'll just be throwing $20 at something that won't even make me any money. So, GNC Family Trucking, what's up? Because that's what happened with Dogecoin. Have you ever nosed in on a parking spot because you were really tired? No. Let's see. Right lane. Good morning. I am pulling a Snorelord today. I mean this month. What's that? I'm in the truck working. I believe you are not, so I don't know what you're talking about. TJ Jones, what's up? Nick G, good morning. Dana Ladami, you're putting codes out there. That's a lot of codes, dude. You don't like singing? Look, I like to sing. I just, look, when you're in a recording studio, you want to talk about you think you hate your voice now. Wait till you hear yourself in a expensive microphones and a completely voice isolated microphone and nothing like a recording studio to really magnify your flaws. I mean, that's for any musician, whether you're a guitar player, drummer, vocalist, all the above. Smooth Trucking, what's up? Cascade. Hey Cascade, if you're not driving, you ought to Google all them codes. You want me to Google them codes for you there, Daniel? Kaislyn, what's up? I haven't seen you in a minute. Nomadic Brick, good morning. Will you ever buy a flatbed so you can do flatbed jobs as well? No, Kenny. If I do flatbed freight, it will be on the interstate without the trailer. Recording studios make you sound fat. Well, you should look into that. Now, look, I like all the stuff that Apnea did. There's a few vocals I'm like, I could have done that better, but I guess you look back and you do what you can only do what you can only do, right? Now, like right now I'm talking to you and I don't mind my voice, but I cannot watch my own live feeds. I don't know how you guys do it. So there's that. So does chat. Dice Man going live. What's up, man? Engine exhaust, recirculation, EGR valve control. Have you seen the factory from Child's Play 2 in person? No. SP110 engine coolant temperature. And what's the other one? What's the third one there? Pick truck up tomorrow with new gearbox and clutch. Ouch. What that cost you? I know Snyder gets in killer. Engine recirculation valve control. I don't know what any of that means. $7,700. Ouch. Been there, done that. Yeah, when your truck gets to a certain age, every little pop, ping, smell, you're just like, what's that? You're waiting for that big breakdown. And that's kind of, it's ironic because, I don't like factory jobs because you always had the axe of layoff looming over your head. In this line of work, the axe that's looming over your head is the axe of a big breakdown. Whether you're financially prepared for it or not, it's inevitable, right? And it's either going to take all your profit for the year, or it's going to put you in bankruptcy, or it's going to just be a pain in the butt. Got these coats well parked. Maybe it might be a sensor issue. I know that. Did your battery die, Daniel? Because if your batteries die and you have to get a jump start, that will cause codes to come up for a minute. I know that happened to me recently. John, everything is well. I'm knock on wood. I'm good, man. I'm good. That's why you trade in before 700K. Nomadic Brick, how many miles on your truck there, sir? But yeah, it could be the EGR cooler. Do you like being ahead on your bills at home, or you just like paying your bills when they are due? I like being as far ahead as I can. You're idling all night? Yeah, I don't know, Daniel. That's probably not good. It at least requires a diagnosis. And we all know how shops are working right now. 940K, wow. So, Donnie Luke, what's up? That's why you trade. Look, I'm not nothing in right now. I'm not paying the extraordinary prices for equipment if you can even get it. Just not doing it until I absolutely have to. And now, with that being said, you can probably get more for your used truck right now. But there was a 94 Peterbilt 362 that looked pretty sharp, but they wanted like $45,000 for it. But I think it was a show truck. Engine still runs like a train with no oil burn. You know, that's one of the things that I could really say about this truck is that, and I'm going to jinx myself, so I'll probably be getting a new truck next week. But I don't burn any oil. I check the oil every time I fuel, and man, it's good. Most of the issues with this truck have been DPF related, although some of the mechanicals are starting to break down a little bit now. I've been having some more AC troubles, and I think it's the fan clutch. The only way for me to have AC while parked is idling the truck up and while I'm driving. Well, you should have the idle up when idling anyways. You should be above 900 when you're idling. I meet the guy at the store, truck stop storage. What are you talking about? Let's see. I'm reading out of order. That's what's wrong. If you want to order a pizza in your truck and at a truck stop, how do you do that? Do you describe how your truck looks to the delivery person or what? Depends on the delivery place. I've never ordered a pizza from my truck, but I have when I was training, I had a trainer that ordered a pizza and they just found the truck, but we were at a dock. If we're at a truck stop, it's better to meet them somewhere versus trying to drive up to your truck, because, you know, four-wheelers driving around the truck stop, the truck area is not very safe. Okay, I read that. What do you really? Okay, that was last year, and now I have no idea. I mean, I've got more miles on this truck. Who knows? If you sold it outright, you could probably get, I don't know, you've got a newer truck than I do. You've got more stuff on your truck. You've got them funny chain things on the drives. It just depends. I would think that you'd be able to get at least 40 for it. Unfortunately, when you absolutely have to, you will have zero trade-in value. I've got zero trade-in value now. But that's the beauty of having a paid-off truck, is I could sell it outright, and that'll compensate me for the down payment that I'll need for the next truck. So I can just put storage insurance on this and call it a day. But isn't that kind of the way, though? I mean, you know, you pay off a truck and it's worn out by the time you pay it off. I mean, you know, that's kind of the cycle. You're paying to, you know, that's why leasing, especially full maintenance leasing, is appealing to people, because yeah, you've always got a payment, but you should always have a payment in your business plan anyways. Because while I don't have a truck payment, my truck has cost me 20 grand this year, you know. So I mean, it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. So the important part is you have a business plan in place to always have a truck payment. Just because you don't have a physical truck payment to the bank doesn't mean that it's not going to cost you like 3 grand this month. You know, and if it didn't cost you 3 grand this month, it may cost you that next month. So if it does, then now you're at $1,500 a month, right? So always have a business, always, you know, so if you get a truck payment, if you buy a truck, make sure there's a warranty. And also a lot for, because I think Big Rig CEO, I think that his first year in his Freightliner, under warranty, he was still $12,000 for the year. Correct me if I'm wrong, James. $12,000 for maintenance and repair. That's tires, that's oil changes, that's everything. So If you're running 2,500 miles a week, that comes out to about 10 cents a mile, which is about the standard of what most mega carriers make you take out if they're going on a mileage program. So always have a truck payment and always account for, you know, $1,000 a month in things that warranties won't cover. Change the oil every month yourself. Well, that's good. I got that middle light in the engine with the tool in it. Yeah, Daniel, it's time to take it to the shop, dude. I know you don't want to hear that. The God tool has improved my emotional state exponentially. Well, you need to meet up with Daniel Adami so you can hook it up to his engine and tell him what's going on. RN, good morning. You a Motorhead fan? I've been really listening to them lately. You know, John, I've got nothing against Motorhead. I just really didn't listen to them a whole lot. But I definitely appreciate them. I don't even think I own any Motorhead albums. But I do like their attitude. I do like what they represented at the time they came out. So I was 950 idle, and when I woke up this morning, my temperature was at 240. Yeah, Daniel, you definitely have some issues. Need to take that to the shop. Deliver that last load and take it to the shop. Yeah, Big Rig CEO, when I took him to Illinois, he ordered a pizza, but we picked it up. We stopped at a safe place to park, and he ran in and got it. Not yet, Big Rig CO. I have some home time coming up this weekend. I will get it done. I turned my truck off when I saw that, turned the truck off, and I just turned it back on, and my temperature's back to normal. What year was it when you finally decided to grow your beard? I don't know, it was a couple of years ago. I've always had kind of a goatee. I've always had kind of shag going on, like, you know, beyond the 5 o'clock shadow, but I just said, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. The wife likes it. It hides my beautiful face quite well. I think that's why she likes it. Big Rig, that's rude. Rick LP, what's up? It's crazy. I've been seeing Freightliner 2016 with 500,000 going 80,000. That's a crazy amount to me. It is, John. That should be a you know, $60,000 truck. What's interesting is new truck prices really haven't gone up that much. I mean, they're definitely up from the vid world, but you know, back when you couldn't get anybody to buy a truck, when International was going to give you like 6 months, no payments, because they're so desperate people to buy the trucks. My, how the tides have turned. With DEF systems, it's better to go full maintenance lease. Peace of mind, and you know you don't have to worry about repair bills in the thousands. Charles, I agree with that. I really do. Josh, hey, what's up, man? So, I saw your email. I've yet to respond because I'm horrible. I don't know what options you really have other than the kind of stick it out where what you're doing, because my experience has been that the less experience that you have, the harder it is to get a truck loan. That's why these mega carriers are able to get these leases out there, because It's the easiest way for a new person to get into a brand new truck. And if your goal is to come over here, you definitely got to be above the 2 years experience. And most carriers our size are going to need that anyways. So I would just kind of just wait things out, see how this is going to play out, see how Christmas is going to play out, because I have a theory. Well, I don't know if I want to put it out there or not. Nothing Witty is in the house. You haven't missed much. You're in Beaumont, Texas, still got 887 miles to your delivery. Well, cross your fingers, man. You cannot find a trailer to buy anywhere. I might find a new carrier. Is your carrier not letting you do power only, John? I've been into Slipknot lately. I can't wait for the new album thoughts. Slipknot, I have a weird deal with Slipknot. I don't like their first album. I don't really listen to Iowa. But I like the one with the Devil Inside, that song. I like that one. That album's okay, but it's not something that I turn on. If it comes on the satellite radio, I don't turn it off. Unless it's off, like Wait and Bleed. I hate that song. They actually have a part of their history with the Springfield metal scene. Three of the members in Slipknot were part of a death metal band in Des Moines there. I believe it's Des Moines, at least Iowa. And them and Public Assassin, which is the band Richard Christie was in, they would do a lot of gigs together. And so they kind of, like, both those bands kind of grew up together, and so when that death metal band disbanded, then that's when they formed Slipknot. So they've got a small connection to our scene here in Springfield. Yes, Kenny. You just sell that KW with 700K now and can't, while you can cash in. And do what, Big Rig CO? What am I going to do? Jeff's not ready for me to be full-time yet. I'm not ready to get out of the truck yet. You think it hasn't crossed my mind to cash out? Desert Okie Pam, what's up? John, check with Stoops in Indianapolis or Great Dane in Bolingbrook, Illinois. Great Dane has several trailers in their lot for sale. I bought my truck in Indianapolis. There you go. And you're heading to Florida. Well, if you go to Peterbilt in Jacksonville, go to the one on the north side of Jacksonville, not the one on the south. Don't tease us like that. What's your after Christmas theory? Oh, we'll get into that, Truman. We'll get into that here. Sheba will buy me the truck. Orion says Vermilion. Is your job a piece of cake for you already, or do you get lost every once in a while? Every now and then I'll have a challenging day. You set up really for guys with trailers, Snorelord, and power only is not as financially rewarding as I thought it might be, since we lost the ability to use JP Hunt. Why did you guys lose the ability to use JP Hunt? What about Schneider, John? I know a guy that was doing $900 a day running Dallas, Texas area, running power only for Schneider with his authority. I mean, you know, if there's a carrier that can get you a trailer, I guess, you know, there's some carriers out there, and, you know, and like, I guess Jeff is saying that if you want to come over here, you need a trailer, so I get it. I do get lost all the time, Daniel. Sage News. Upgrade to a new truck. What's up, Sage? And where are these trucks? Where am I going to get a new truck? Where That's the thing. Equipment is not only expensive, it's hard to find. Am I a big conspiracy theorist? No. Diesel fan, here's how I look at the world, okay? I see things in front of me, and I just pay attention to those. I don't go into the whys. I just know that it's happening, right? You know, there's theories about China, there's theories about New World Order, there's theories about aliens. Doesn't matter. Ships are stuck at the port. There's mandates going on everywhere. Doesn't matter, you know, it doesn't matter if the election was rigged. If it was, the reality is that we have the president that we have, right? You got to move on, right? If it's not to your liking, you got to move on. You got to prepare for the next step, right? I notice things, and you know, like I noticed that there was a lot of warehousing going up, like an extraordinary amount in places that normally didn't have that. I talked to people that are in construction. They say, yeah, we're putting up a bunch of warehouses. And so that tells me, maybe they're getting rid of the just-in-time model and they're going to start warehousing, because warehousing helps you save on rates on non-perishables. So that tells me that volume might go down in the future, right? If you have a bunch, you know, and here's the thing, everybody assumes, because we got a bunch of boats out there in the ocean waiting to get unloaded, that there's going to be this floodgate that's going to open. That's not going to happen. That's not guaranteed work for the next 2 years. Because essentially the costs are going to come up, and this is where my theory comes in. The costs are going to go up, and at some point the shippers are just going to stop shipping because they can't afford it. You have a shortage of chassis at the rails. The rails are backed up. There's a gal I follow on Instagram that showed that she's been sitting there for 6 hours, and you can't even move containers. They have one crane working at the rail car in where she was at. The supply chain is stressed, and we went from feast to famine to feast, all in the course of 2 years. And so what happens is, if you got too much at once, there's a bottleneck. Instead of consistent freight all year long, it went from nothing to everything more. And so it really should show you the weaknesses of our infrastructure. It should show you the weaknesses of all the areas where trucking has failed. So when you look at how carriers treat their drivers, the high turnover rate is now biting everybody in the butt. How companies treat drivers are biting everybody in the butt. How you treat your equipment is biting you in the butt. This disposable, hey, I got to trade my truck in every 3 years, that's biting you in the butt. Always swinging for the fences, that's going to bite you in the butt. And so all these things are happening, and so I think that at some point the shippers are going to just stop or slow down. Now here's a couple of things. It's a perfect storm brewing. And you can call me crazy, you can tell me I'm dumb, you can give me a thumbs down, I don't care. Okay? And I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong on this. But I've worked through recessions before, and we've got one coming that we have yet to see. We think we're in it now, but we're not. We're seeing inflation. Gasoline gets high, fuel gets high, people stop buying things. with limited supplies of retail freight, and a lot of companies are relying on this corner to save their business, they're going to go out. They aren't going to make it. People are going to be more worried about food than TVs. And if you can find the luxury items like a PS5 or a TV, you know, it's going to cost you more. It's going to be harder to find. And it's going to be a lower quality because people have rushed a lot of this stuff to build just to keep up with demand, new demand. And if you didn't save your stimulus money that you got in the last year, you're going to be hurt. The ones that will make it are the ones that were able to invest that stimulus money, that set back that stimulus money. I don't care if it was an EIDL loan, Triple P, the government child checks, any stimulus that you got. You should have put it aside. So, January 1st, all these companies are going to be licking their wounds. They're going to see that they're in the red, and they're going to call it a day. Or they've exasperated their shipping costs, and their inventory is still high because they didn't sell a lot of it. So therefore, volume is going to drop come January. Every time volume drops, rates go down. I had a discussion with a friend of mine about how truck drivers control the rates, and I completely disagree with that. And that's a very unpopular opinion. We have some control of the rates to a degree, but it's all supply and demand. That's why you can't get a good rate out of Florida. There's too many trucks in Florida trying to get out. And the ones that sit there will let it sit on the dock and we'll just deadhead out because we refuse to make those rates. Well, if that actually worked, rates would go up in Florida, wouldn't it? Right? Wouldn't rates coming out of Florida go up? If everybody deadheaded out of Florida, obviously that doesn't work. Been there, done that, lost money because of that. When volume drops, that's when you see the low rates. That's what we saw at the beginning of the vid. And that's where you're going to see it. The rates are killer. The rates are just absolutely stellar right now. And if your truck's making it, make it. Make the money. Okay? Because you're going to need that cushion. And let me tell you another example. So I paid 60 grand for my truck, and I paid 30 grand for my trailer. We're going to get the old calculator out. Okay, and I'm going to get to the comments here. I know I'm behind. So that's $90,000 in my investment. Okay? If a guy wants to enter the spot market today, or not even the spot market, just wants to buy a truck and trailer, okay? You're going to pay at least 80 grand for the truck for the same, if not more miles than what I bought mine at, okay? And you're going to pay 40 grand if you can find one for a trailer, dry van trailer. That's 120,000. 120 minus 90. Whoops. 120 minus 90,000. So a guy entering the market today is paying $30,000 more than when I entered the market in 2018. The spot market. So there's that cost. The fuel is literally $1 more a gallon on the average than it was 2 years ago. Last year. So my fuel costs were a lot lower than the startup guys starting up today. Now, the difference is the rates that we're getting today will help with that 30 grand extra that the person's paying this year. However, What if rates fall below what they are? Now that extra 30 grand and an extra dollar per gallon, that has taken away your net. And if your gross goes down, your net is definitely going to go down. And that's the part that most people have trouble surviving. And then the taxes come in and slaughter you. It's like a double tap, right? And so the idea is to work as hard as you can now. Pay off your debts. If you could pay that truck off quicker, do it. If you could pay that trailer off quicker, do it. Because when things really go bad, you'll have that cushion and you can stay working and you can stay in business and you can keep running because your profitability will be better than most other people. That's my conspiracy theory. But hey, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sitting here in a line of trucks, not knowing if I'm ever going to get unloaded. Let's get to some comments here. All right, you're using Schneider. Good deal. Kenny, I did choose this truck because it was green, because I didn't want a purple truck. Right Lane did not order that truck. He got on the build order that somebody else dropped off of. That's what happened there. Steve, is there any work out there it's out there for 4802 dry van? I don't know. I don't look at that. You would have to ask, get access to that board and see if a 48 footer could do it. I don't see why not. If you're doing standard, like, I'm sure there's some loads out there you can do. I don't think I'll make it all the way over there, Snorelord, and I'm broke again. I've been trying to save, but it's been a little hard to be able to. I was down for 3 weeks, went out for about 2 weeks. Daniel, I'm sorry to hear that. Snyder, if you want to work on trailers all the time, now it's getting worse with part shortages. Yeah. Well, I know somebody that's leaving Schneider because they're very frustrated with that. Diesel fan, that's funny. Ozzy did an interview. He said what Lemmy were good friends before he was a motorhead. They used to write together a lot, and Lemmy wrote "Mama, I'm Coming Home." I wouldn't doubt that. So you're saying shippers are just going to close up shop? Some will. There's DIY Semi. It says, you're right, Steve. Some things are already happening. Look, the type of freight to be hauling right now is consumables. The stuff that has to move regardless of what the economy is doing, regardless of what inflation's doing, okay? That's the stuff to be running. That's the stuff I've primarily been running. If you have a niche of retail freight, seasonal freight, box store freight, you know, it's going to be an adventure. If you're, I know a lot of people having a lot of bad luck with Target and long unload times because their systems are broken. If you go to a Walmart and the shelves are empty, it's not because there's a shortage yet. It's because their supply chain is stressed. You know, there's a difference between broken and stressed. Right now, everything's stressed, right? And so a lot of shippers may not get all the product in. Just like Ford and Chevy have pickup trucks sitting out there in the parking lot that they can't finish. And at some point, people are going to ship out of desperation. Look, if you order something from Amazon and the shipping price is like 3 times the amount and you don't need it, you're going to say, well, I'll just wait till shipping goes down. So to think that can't happen on a larger scale is nuts. You have whole factories that did the just-in-time, that didn't prepare with warehousing. that are literally going to go out of business because their stuff's sitting on a $20,000 can out in the middle of the ocean. Shippers will never stop shipping. They will lose too much money. Transportation costs are always passed on to the consumer. That's why I stuck on certain things for at least 1.5 years. To a certain degree, yes. Look, there's a lot of companies that are creating their own trucking companies to haul their own freight. That's going to be a thing. They're going to find ways. Just like the whole shipping, the ship stuff. There are companies like Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart say, you know what, we'll just get our own ships and take care of this ourselves. And so that will create a disruption. That will create stress. Transporting one 20-foot container across the Pacific costs 4 times more than last year, only for the ship and container. Trucking stuff across the country is not included. That's right, Dutch. They have stores and Amazon already having Black Friday sales. I'm debt free. There you go. Shannon, what's up? You are not as controlled as people think. We are benefiting from circumstance. Big difference. Absolutely. Grafton, what's up? Watch rates jump up at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Is it because there's more freight, or is it because more drivers are taking time off, or a combo of each? It would be a combination of each. At Landstar, I knew a lot of drivers that literally did not run between November 1st and January 31st. And Dice Man will know about trailer prices because that's directly involves him. And he said trailers are horrible right now. Warehousing will cut down on people being able to get the latest and greatest that we've been used to. Retailers will go towards standardized products. You get what they think you need, comrade. Exactly. Stimulus money is being paid back with inflation, and the rise of fuel is to force us to go electric. It's all part of the plan. Jim Crow, I agree with that. My Shibu coin investment has quadrupled in the last month. Orion, I want to get on that train. I really do. Shadow Wolf, good snow morning. Yeah, Shadow Wolf's in Winter Wonderland up there. Rates dropping in volume in Northeast. Sean, is that in the Schneider world? What is your plan for equipment for the next 5 years? Well, number one, I'm not getting rid of my trailer. I think that when volume drops, this truck's got to make it 1 more year. And by then, Jeff is either going to bring me full-time into the office or a lot of people will be out of business because they couldn't make their truck payments because their trucks were stuck at the shop for 3 months. And I'll capitalize on getting some equipment at a lower price, hopefully. If not, we'll just keep maintaining this truck. And just keep stacking the cash. So that way when the big breakdown happens, not if, but when, I'm not in the situation that Daniel's dealing with. That's why I run reefer. It's always a need. Look, Big Rig CO's doing a killing on the reefer freight. I would be almost tempted to go into the reefer world, to be honest with you. I understand the higher prices for the vehicles, but since rates are up, you should be paying down the extra debt so that you stay ahead of the game when rates do fall. There you go, Scott. It's all about the business. Now more than ever, you have to be planning ahead and be prepared for the fall. You need several backup plans just in case. There you go, Scott and I. Orion is broke, yes, just like Robert Kiyosaki says that he has no cash. Math is hard, and so is spelling there, John. Home Depot bought the nationwide supply company my wife drives for 6 months ago. I got a truck I'll sell you next year. There you go, Shadow Wolf. I'll buy Shadow Wolf's truck. He's got that Ultraloft Peterbilt. Right, you got the Ultraloft? Is that the Ultraloft? I'd rather get it from you than TLG. And look at Halloween stuff, right? I went to Halloween Spirit Halloween, whatever the hell the store is called, right? And they didn't have much in there. And 99.9% of Halloween stuff is comes out from overseas. And you know they don't sell it all every year, right? It's put in a container, it's put in storage, and then they bust out next year. And they didn't have much, so they were literally probably selling the majority of their stuff was probably last year's stock. So what are companies like that going to do? They're going to go out. That's less volume. Halloween freight was shipping last month, or if not a month before that, if there was any to be had. You know, I remember telling people that Christmas freight is shipping now in September. It was September. And someone's like, "Oh, that's you're full of crap. You don't know what you're talking about." And then I opened my trailer and showed the freight, and it was marked Christmas. It was Christmas marketing packaging on it. And it was September. Ask me how I know that. Well, when I was at Snyder, what Walmart would do, and some of the other big retailers, is they would order the Christmas stuff early, the stuff that wasn't perishable, the stuff that was just, you know, and they would order it with Snyder. Snyder would pick it up, and then the full trailers would sit at the OCs. It was very frustrating because I had to try to find parking at the OC, and there was none because Walmart had about 20 trailers on retainer with the stuff. And so when it came closer to November, the day cab would take it to the store or to the DC. And it saved on the shipping rates, because to ship Christmas freight in November is a lot more expensive than shipping it in August. You guys got to realize that a lot of retail businesses look ahead. They look a year ahead. They look 6 months ahead. They're you know, that's why when you go into Walmart and it's like the spring clothing comes out 1st of February, because they're looking that far ahead. You know, and that's not just in retail, that's in all businesses. Oh, it's not ultra off? Your engine tool light just came off. Well, that's good. I remember before I had to replace my SCR, I had the 2 check engine lights, and then they went away, and then they came back, and it was a worse light. So don't get complacent. The fourth quarter numbers for retailers are probably going to be lower than expected. Yeah, and their costs have gone up. So it's not just, they might have good sales, but their profit margin is in the toilet because of the things that they're dealing with. And no, not to mention that they're also paying more per hour for their employees to keep employees in. And some places are having to close shop because they can't get employees in to even work. I heard there's a Christmas tree shortage on both real trees and fake because of all the fires out west. That wouldn't surprise me, John. We've used the same fake Christmas tree for the last 20 years. There's been a couple of years where I bought a fresh Christmas tree. And there's one year that we actually bought a live one and then replanted it. Rick, those chips are in Taiwan. And look, I have people that think that the tension with China is being orchestrated, and it's false. Like, we shouldn't have any issues with the Chinese. However, doesn't matter what the root is. All that matters is that tensions are there. The news is reporting about it, and so something's there. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Regardless of the origin, regardless of the circumstance, regardless of why and who's orchestrating that, the reality is it's happening, and that could make a major player in our situation. You're having a hard time finding an 11R trailer tire? What's an 11R trailer tire? And look, I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom, but the reality is the rates are killer right now. If you can get into the spot market, I would. Although it's a difficult time to be buying equipment right now. And once you're in, pay everything off as fast as you can. 22.5. A couple of years ago, we bought a small live Charlie Brown tree so we could plant it after it died. Right? Replanting a tree can be difficult, especially when you let it sit in your living room for a month. Like trees like, what the hell? Look, if consumerism and materialism is your thing, it's going to get tough. You're going to, at least, if you don't have shortages, you're going to have at least lack of abundance or lack of the illusion of abundance. So, look, just do what you can. Trudge on. Make your plans still. Don't, for example, I'm going to pick on Daniel for a minute. Daniel's probably feeling some stress because of the scenario that he's dealing with. He's doing an 880 mile load. His truck's giving him codes, and he doesn't have the money to fix it. Daniel's not alone. There's a lot of people in that position, and I've been in that position, right, in the past. So you have to conjure up those feelings that created that. And you have to figure out, okay, what can I do to at least, maybe not eliminate those feelings, but at least lower them a little bit. Lower the stress level a little bit. What can I do? And set things up in that way. Too many times we've heard that you gotta go all in and burn in flame or die in flames, when it goes away. And that could be to me, it's a very non-efficient approach. Slow and steady wins the race, right? And slow and steady wins the race, and it's very hard emotionally if you take a huge loss like that, and you got to be prepared for that. So if you live by the sword, be prepared to die by the sword, right? Jacoby, that's never going to happen. 100% no, because there's a lot of truths that really the American public can't handle. And I said this 2 years ago when the vid first started, was that if we ever do come across a true life catastrophe that's imminent, we're never going to believe them. News: factory closures rampant in China due to power outages. Yep, Sage has been talking about that for a while, Thomas. That's going to create shortages too. John, it's not financially... John, I'm not going to read that out loud, but here's the answer, okay? This is where greed will take us out. Greed and government intervention is why the majority of the companies went over to China. So if you have a country that makes all your product and it helps your profit margin with this, you know, by being able to go over there, then they have control, don't they? Does Ford and Chevy really have control of their companies right now? I think not. No, we keep that sucker alive till spring in the pot. Yeah. So, but there used to be 3 plants here. Now there's 1. John, what does that tell you? That's not for lack of. That's greed that did that. The meek will inherit the world. Yes, that's true. Accident was not my fault at all, Daniel. Man, Daniel, I'm having a hard time, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. Power shortages are all BS. They were blaming crypto mining on power outages last year. This year, no mining in China. Now, what's the excuse? Who knows, Orion? And that's the thing. You be aware, even if they're saying it. Okay, even if the news is saying it, there's a reason, right? Whether they're lying, whether it's true, whether it's controlled, whether it's on purpose, whether it's on accident. This is how I look at it. It's being said, right? Just like everybody argues about, you know, the vid rates. Doesn't matter what the death rate is. It doesn't matter if you think it's real or not. It doesn't matter if you know, the mandates are here. They're there. Whatever their intentions are, doesn't matter. They're here, and we have to deal with them. And so while we have all these YouTube echo chambers that will argue about sorry, a truck just pulled up behind me. I think I'm out of his way. While we're all arguing on the whys, we're ignoring the fact that we need to do something about it. We're ignoring the fact that we need to prepare for your future. Dutch, that's absolutely true. Steve, I just can't understand this. I was out 2 months. I've made excellent money. Hard to believe nobody has money in this market. Well, I mean, you never know someone's situation, Thomas. Did you know that Ford controlled every aspect of production? They even had their own ships to haul the ore to their steel mill, which was located at the plant. No. In my newer circles, we have been under a one-world government since World War II. Everything is a psyop and propaganda. Germany taught the world how easily the people could be controlled. If we free social media for at least a month, the world would be a better place. First class, I think people would be happier. I think stress is through the roof. People are more likely to snap now. You know, did you guys see Asian Mai's video about the truck driver that shot a person because he was hitting his truck with the crowbar? He felt his life was threatened. I mean, we go from fisticuffs to weapons like that. Trucker's table, that's a federal offense. There's a reason. Look, here's the thing. People had already thought about that, which is why the government immediately made that a federal offense. Like, no, you're not going to do that. And that's why they're not allowing religious exemptions, because they knew people would do that too. Pizza with breadsticks seems to be redundant, Kenny. The primary, and oligarch, whatever, you know, Orion's using big words, all from the top to bottom, and roads lead to Rome. It's all propaganda to keep the various colors of ants at each other's throats to keep the light off themselves. Well, Thomas, I understand your mind can't grasp that it happens, and people have actually had a rough go of it due to forces outside their control, but it happens. Yeah, I mean, my net revenue is down this year. These high rates have allowed me to minimize the damage of the time I've had to take off, so I'm grateful for that. And I've had some generosity thrown at me, so I'm also grateful for that. Well, they can fight it, but it's there. I think we're finally going to move up one. I'd show you what was going on up here, but there's an anti-camera law here. Rule or whatever. Start my truck here. Those of you driving, don't worry, that dinging's my truck. You take Russian missile crisis, all scare tactic and propaganda. You have to ask yourself why we have missile bases in Cuba that have been there a very long time. The lower shroud governments continue. Orion, you and I need to have a conversation. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on a lot of this stuff. And at the end of the day, though, you can't control it. You know, Ryan's living his life to the fullest. You know, as long as he stays out of the fire, he'll be all right. Whether mandates are going to happen or not doesn't matter. What's your plan if they do, right? I hear a lot of people like, well, if they require for your CDL, I'm out. Okay, well then what are you going to do? Are you making decisions based off of fear and dependency, or are you making decisions because that's the goal of that's what you want to do? If I get out of the truck, okay, here's the thing: if I get out of the truck, it's going to be towards a goal. Another goal. It will be another business. It will be to help someone else with their business. It will be something that will make me happy. I've thought about selling the truck, getting a local bus driving job because they're paying well now, and being a counselor and getting the education required for that. I've thought about that. Because I think, because at the end of the day, it's about being happy. It's about true contentment. And right now, it seems like the government's doing everything they can to take that contentment away from everybody. You know, there's a lot of things in place, whether intentional or non-intentional, that are destroying small businesses, which is what is the fabric of what this country was originally supposed to be based off of. The trucking industry is predominantly independents and small carriers. All under one ruling oligarch. Okay, that's what. No, I'm not saying that at all, RD. Right, and you know, look, if enough people fight back on what they think is wrong, regardless of the scenario, regardless of the situation, you know, and do it in an organized manner, you know, not all willy-nilly throwing bricks at things. You know, then you know, you make a statement. And right now, there's a lot of statements being made across the world. In Australia, Italy, Germany, France. Oh, these guys are deciding to have a conversation instead of moving the truck out of the dock. You gotta love it. At the end of the day, people have lost empathy for each other. People are only focused on themselves. And that's why everybody's miserable. You know, everybody talks about how the trucking industry's gone downhill because there's no courtesy anymore. Well, that's true. No one looks out for each other anymore. We're all in our own heads. Right? I'll give you a good example. If you watch, let's say you watch a channel like Police Activity, right? Police Activity is a channel where the department puts up the badge cams or the dash cams or both from a police incident. And let's say there was a shooting, okay? And if there's a fatality, you read the comments, and you hear nothing but, man, that guy got what he deserved. He shouldn't have done that. He's an idiot. You know, it's Darwin's law and blah blah. You know, all this like hatred, right? Because no one has empathy anymore. You should feel sorry for the guy that, to a certain degree, look, a predator is a predator. Don't get me wrong. Predator needs to be taken out. But you got to be empathetic, sympathetic to the fact that person was in that situation, that they had to become a predator. You know, you have to. It's still sad that person was taken out, because that's a ripple effect to the family. You know, the family might have been stressed. They might have been so broke that he was a predator for a reason. You know, or a mental illness said, hey, you know, it's a good idea to bring a knife to a gunfight. You know, or suicide by cop, right? All these different factors, and you should be, that should trigger an emotional response that isn't all like, kill them all, you know. Because the more we become like that, the easier it is to turn on each other with the division that the government's causing. Does anybody think of that? They want you to fly off the handle at the smallest thing. They want that. They want mental illness to be a thing. They want mental problems to be a thing, because they can medicate you and they can control you with your emotions. That's it. Wow, this guy is literally like waddling really slow to the back of his trailer. You guys gotta take care of your health, man, out here. You really do. Government can mandate all they want, but not one single place I've been to has asked. And yeah, it is a losing battle, because essentially people are just going to fight back. I'm at a place that supposedly was going to have mandates for carriers coming in, but they aren't. They make me wear this, that's about it. Look, there's lots of lying. There's lots of hypocrisy. I mean, the world is full of hypocrites right now. Wait till inflation hits China and their goods go up. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some economic crises coming. But you know what? Look, I've said this before, and I've watched a really graphic history of the rise of the German Empire in World War II. And it's amazing the horrible things that people can do to each other. And if you are great grandparents or grandparents' age, depending on how old you are in this feed, they dealt with the Spanish flu, they dealt with World War I, World War II, Spanish flu, the Dust Bowl, Korean War. I thought we were going to move up. It must have felt like the world was getting ready to end at that time. You had local Ukrainians killing their own kind because the Germans were telling them they had to. Okay. One truck moved up. Oh well. Oh, now he moves up. I knew it. I knew the minute I put my engine off. I swear. I'm officially good for the road now. Good now. My hat's off to you. Oh, are you officially off the road for good now? My hat's off to y'all. Still out there grinding away every day. Southern Rider, good luck. I don't know what you're doing next, but I hope it works out, dude. Ryan, I'll agree to that. Well, I don't know. They definitely don't want any big... I mean, I definitely don't think World War III is going to be fought traditionally yet. It's going to be a technological war. But anyways, I don't know if I really have much more else to say. Chat numbers have gone down, so I think I've driven a few people away. That's great. Kenny's even stopped his questions. I'm starting a motorcycle boot camp. It's not a school to get the endorsement. It's a school to get the correct skills to ride. That sounds pretty cool, Southern Rider. Well, I believe that, Orion. You guys ever seen the movie Children of Men? I could definitely see that kind of a scenario happening. Anyways, what else you guys want to know about? I should probably get to, I have a 5 o'clock pickup in Springfield. And I hope I can make it. Of course, this happens to be with the broker that doesn't like paying attention. See, Southern Rider, I think that'd be kind of cool because my wife wants to learn to ride a motorcycle. Are you going to supply the bikes too? No, Coyote's actually been really good, Dice Man. I won't say who it is. I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'll tell you privately, but... I've had a fever for a week now. Yeah, that first week's going to be rough. That's what everybody else... Dice Man, I did a load last week. Remember I was at the grocery warehouse? I did a 3-hour live feed. Because I'm idiotic at times. And I drove literally 2 miles. I put in the email. And by the time I got parked at the truck stop 2 miles away, I had my new Raycon. It took them 30 minutes. Yeah. Well, what it is you got to get on their app, and 30 minutes before it kicks in, you're supposed to go, hey, this sucks. You check something on the app. And I emailed our broker, our agent guy, or whatever his name is, our representative. And then I emailed him. I did the in and out times. I showed him the screenshots of when I checked in on the app, make sure that there was no stipulations there. And I sent them as PDFs, and we were good to go. Let's get a 12-hour live feed from you. I don't know. I guess you missed the part in the beginning where I hate the sound of my own voice. What's it supposed to be? There is no coming back. The best scenario would be an official split and the two remain friends. Dying Breed, what's up? You're in South Florida, right off of 75 at the Florida line. Yep, Steve, I have the little 250s ready to go. Nice. Liberal and conservative are both teams. If this didn't exist, we would not be divided. Yeah, I've been hit and miss on the rates with them. I got a killer rate one day, and then they wanted like $500 less than the 30-day on another, and they weren't budging. Ninja 250. So it goes back to what I say all the time, like a broken record. You can't control what's going on around you. You can only control how you react. If you're going to fight against the system, doing it in an organized way. Sometimes to put your heart on your sleeve is not the best approach. You want to be incognito at times. Let people underestimate you. I'm pretty good at that. People think I'm a dumbass. So I got that in the bag. You're lucky. Once I got stuck in a glass chute, a small city under Dresden, had to wait 22 hours, nothing to do, nothing to see, no toilet or food, joint nearby. I always have food in the truck. I've learned that lesson the hard way. The only part, like, every now and then when I pick up in the caves, I think I've been down there for as long as 2 hours before, you know, and that's when I've got audiobooks that I've downloaded. I've got that. I've got music I listen to. I've got magazines. I got this cool magazine. You want to see it? I got like this cool magazine here. Got that. That I read. I got a couple of books. I haven't read a book in forever. Ryan, I agree with that. Can we unite again, or is this the new norm? Beast mode? How old are you, Beast mode? If you don't want to say, that's fine. But in the 80s, we had all these dystopian films. You had like Mad Max, all of them. You had Running Man. You had Demolition Man. You had RoboCop. And you had these pre-World War III dystopian films, and they all had the same theme. They all had the same thing. If you guys, you know, if even like newer ones like Hunger Games or Death Race 2000, that was an old futuristic film. They all had one thing in common. The rich were richer and the poor were poorer. And the other thing they had in common was everybody lacked sympathy. No one cared about their fellow man anymore. Mental illness was rampant in these movies. Ego was rampant in these movies. Materialism, superficial, you know, just antagonistic imagery was about, right? Tell me that that's not happening today. Watch any social media thing, watch any Grammys, watch any award show, watch you know, American Idol or America's Got Talent. We're all messed up in the head. We worship people for doing simple things like the Kardashians or any sports person. And you have true geniuses that could solve a lot of problems for us that die poor and penniless and brokenhearted. We worship the wrong things. We're not spiritual at all. And what it comes down to is that's human nature. People suck. There's a reason why they want population control. You've heard Orion, you're probably familiar. They want population control, right? Well, there's a reason for that. We're like lice on this planet. And there's a lot of karma and a lot of reality checks that are going to be handed out here soon. Blade Runner, that's another one. Beast Mode, I don't own any. New norm won't stay normal much longer, I don't think, just like we're seeing the pushback from the regular folks. It's difficult to steer parked cars to get moving. Alright, Dice Man, be careful on the road. Those are some nice peats you got sitting over there in Indianapolis. Well, not only that, but the geniuses that could solve the issues are ridiculed by the masses of idiots. We are really entering into idiocracy. What do you mean entering? We're there. We've been there for a while. I'm spiritual as hell. I run around in the woods naked yelling at the gods all the time. I bet you do, Orion. I bet you do. I bet you Loki's your god there, right? Oi there, says Tolga. Well, we can talk about something more lighthearted if you want. I saw in the news this morning about a guy that's writing a new comic series to show Superman come out. Isn't it interesting that China has banned that sort of thing? You have people screaming for the rights of the alphabet, yet they'll support anything that China does, right? A lot of hypocrisy right now, a lot of hypocrisy. That's part of the destruction of the four olds, is what that is. Depopulation is about eliminating those who don't pay their fair share. Well, there's a lot of people on this earth that aren't doing that. You're either a contribution or a parasite. I know I just talked about sympathy and empathy, but you got to understand that there are poor people that there are people in tragic situations that have been able to rise above it all and not let them darken their heart. And then you have people with the best life. They come from the cream of the crop, best genetics, best financial, best family, that have a dark heart and bad intentions. Doesn't matter your social, economic class. It doesn't matter if what you grew up in. Are there more challenges in other situations? Absolutely. But just because you are privileged does not mean you're good, and just because you are not privileged doesn't mean you are bad. But yet they will have you think that. And that is the true tragedy. But I think I'm going to get off here. I got to catch up a few things. I got to enter this load in the trucking office. And possibly notify the broker that I might be late for my pickup on the next load. They've got 4 hours before it becomes an issue. So what, in your opinion, does "don't pay their" wrong word, by the way, fair share mean to you, Jacob D. Lames? I'll let you guys discuss that while I drink my coffee, which obviously I need since I'm yawning. 99% of these videos, like what I'm doing and what most people do on social media, it's just echo chambers. It's all all talk. There's no action. It's designed to get you all riled up with no solution. And that can be mentally taxing as well. It's RD, Thomas. That's RD Trucking. He changed his name. So who in your opinion isn't paying their fair share? Truck driver, you're so right. Right, that's how echo chambers work, right? I say something that make it, the so-and-so was doing this to bring the man down, and everybody else goes, yeah, man, I agree with you. And then that's it. That's all we do. we feel better about ourselves, or we get all riled up, right? And at the end of the day, you're just stressed. You're just like, wow, that was a really good video. I really agree with that. That's kind of how it is, right? And eventually you got to turn off this digital noise. Eventually you got to, I mean, there was 40, I think there was 50 people in here at one point. Half of them said, you know what, Steve, we're out of here, dude. You've echoed long enough. And that's fine. And people can't discern information anymore. Right. And so here's the deal, right? You have people that will show a picture of something, or they'll show an article, and you don't know what the context is, you don't know what the premise is, you don't know what the date of the picture even is, right? But someone makes a meme out of it, it becomes truth. And then suddenly you're like the article about Superman, right? Let's take that article that Southern Rider was talking about. Let's take that Superman thing as a perfect example, okay? This video is going to go on a little bit longer, okay? So here's the deal. When you read that article that Southern Rider is talking about, that is designed to invoke emotion regardless of what side of the fence you are on that subject. Okay? Notice I'm avoiding certain words. Okay? If you are against that, it's designed to make you go, that sucks, right? If you're for it, it's designed to make you go, finally, someone is thinking about us. And that's great. I'm going to buy all their products. Right? What's the purpose? Meanwhile, the term Superman gets put in all the trending, all the Twitter feeds, all the hashtags, and you got people arguing about it, and arguing about it, arguing about it. And you know what's happening? DC is making a killing. It's trending. It makes people feel good, and it makes people feel bad. Meanwhile, I'm like, why does it even matter? Why do we even have to bring it up? Why is that even an issue? What good is it going to do? What good is it's like being in a swimming pool and splashing the water. All you're doing is like taking the calm water and ruining it, right? And by ruin, I mean you're just creating waves for the sake of creating waves. Not because I'm for it or against it, but because you're just, why? And so you take in little bits of this information throughout the whole day. And what has that information done for you? Absolutely nothing. It's either made you feel bad about a situation or good about the situation. If you're a diehard Superman fan, you'll be like, well, what's the point of this? You know? And if you're a new comic book fan, you might be like, wow, okay, well, this is the norm. And so the spirit of the original comic is lost a little bit. But in the reality, what good is that information for you? All it does is make you get on a social media outlet and either go, yay, or and at the end of the day, you're going to be so stressed that you go out and you buy that whole pizza and you eat it while smoking your cigarettes and wonder why your life and health suck. Your mental health has gone away, your physical health has gone away, and they're making billions off of that. Billions with a B. Off of you stressing over shit that you don't need to be stressed over. That's how I look at it. Let's talk solutions then. That's something positive. My short-term goal is to get more sleep. Stress is a killer. Right. You have to do things to reduce your stress. If that means turning off social media, if that means turning off YouTube, if that means putting your phone away for a couple hours. You know, the other day, I was helping the wife paint the upside of a carport. It's something that I've been procrastinating for a long time. It's been on our heads. It's been stressful. It's been weighing heavy, you know, because eventually we don't want the wood to rot, right? But it needed to be painted. But getting the time together to do it and getting the paint together, and you know, it's a big chore, right? So we ended up it was such a beautiful day on Sunday. We went ahead and attacked it and got it all done. And it was great because we literally had no music other than a band local, like a band was practicing nearby, and they weren't bad, so you know, whatever. And but the phones were nowhere to be heard. They were inside the house. I couldn't hear them. I couldn't check on them because, you know, I had paint. At one point I had green in my beard, you know, and it was nice. You have to disconnect after a while. And one of the worst things, and I'm horrible at this. I'm horrible. The first thing you should do in your first hour is not to be on your phone. Now, as a business owner, I kind of have to be, so that's kind of more difficult for me. But if you're not a business owner, don't get on social media first thing in the morning when you first wake up. Jacob, he used to be a liberal. If a lie is repeated enough, people will start to believe it's true. That's been happening for years. Now, Rick says, I remember CNN was informative. Were they informative, or were they, or are they just easier to spot with their BS right now? News has always been a propaganda. I remember Dan Rather. Okay, Dan Rather was a good news anchorman. He was like, besides Walter Cronkite, I think that he was a decent press guy, right? But he was still a shill. Okay, and here's how I know this. I remember watching the news. I'm sitting down. The news starts, and the first article, the first thing he talks about, how coffee is good for your health. Studies say that coffee is good for your health, and here's why. That was the first news story. Oh, by the way, a bunch of people died over here. Oh, and there's some forest fires. You know, it was like, but that was, why the hell was that the first thing in the news? Who paid for that, right? Who's pushing the coffee futures, right? And then a month later, the news started off with Dan Rather saying, new studies shows that coffee may not be as good for you as we originally thought it was. And I'm thinking, what the hell is this? Why is this even on the news, number one? Why does that have higher priority versus the things that I want to hear, the things that I want to know about. I don't give a shit about coffee. I love coffee. But at the time I was a kid, I didn't care about coffee. I didn't care if it was healthy for you or not. There's a lot of things that are healthy for us that's not making the news. And there are a lot of things that are unhealthy for us that are not making the news. So why is this all of a sudden an issue? Who's manipulating the strings to help coffee sales? And that's what a lot of propaganda was. That was back in the 80s, early 90s. And so now it's just more blatant. Now you've got a different set of color eyes going on. And so now it's easy to see. And as we go on, they're hiding it less. It's more obvious. It's almost like watching a cheesy 80s dystopian film. And CNN and Fox News are cut from the same cloth, by the way. They're designed to infuriate you, to agitate you, and to make you have an echo chamber go, yeah, I agree, with no action. You've been over here for 3 hours for a Pulling Facts? I know where you're at. Nick Brashears, what's up? So at the end of the day, you have to unplug. You have to enjoy the little moments. If the world is crumbling around you, then focus on a small moment that brings happiness. You have to have blinders on. Chucky's talked about this. You have to have blinders on sometimes. It's hard to maintain a business when you're worried that if you're even going to be in business still. You have to focus at the task at hand. Yeah, RD, I'll never know where you're at officially because you'll do a video and it won't be able to hear you. So you might even mention it, but we won't hear you. And like, okay, so let's take what Tolga says. I haven't watched TV more than 10 years, which I'm pretty happy to decide that. It's not, but here's the thing. They have a way around that. It's called social media. And social media is actually worse than the TV. TV is blatant. I watch it, like the other day I was watching the Chiefs game. I think it was Monday night. Was it Sunday? No, Sunday night. Sorry, Sunday night. And the commercials were just annoying. Like, wow. And the propaganda and what they're selling. It was all medication. It was all cars that can't even be finished building. It was all consumerism and medication, right? And if you watch a news program, you have to watch raw footage with no commentary, no context. That was just mean for no real reason. Why? Because RD, you know I'm kidding, right? Because, you know, truck drivers can razz each other. Don't be so emotional. If I didn't like your videos, I wouldn't tune in. You're so sensitive. Can't be sensitive anymore. That's for sure. But at the end of the day, it's all digital noise. Whether it's coming from the TV, whether it's coming from your phone, whether it's coming from your tablet. You know, you can sit there and watch, you know, Halloween movies on Netflix and you know, listen to music and you're pretty well set. So, but at the end of the day, you got to be informed. You got to know, you know, you got to pick your news sources. You got to be able to stay informed on everything, because if not, you don't want any surprises. Like if there was a riot going on in a city, you're going to want to know about that. You're going to want to know which neighborhood to go down or not go down. Just like a snowstorm. How many of you are paying attention? How many of you are stuck out west that are self-dispatched and didn't realize that you were going to go through a snowstorm? How many of you? Social media is having less regulations than the TV channels, but fortunately I don't use any type of social media apps either. I follow general topics versus economic websites. Via economic websites. No, first class, free speech has been gone a long time ago. Long time ago. Now, is it a little bit easier to say certain things in this country than, say, I don't know, Afghanistan or a place like that? Absolutely. We have a lot of freedoms that we still have. But there are freedoms that we still have. That was redundant, I'm sorry. But social media is a private platform. Perfect example. La Palma volcano, may have heard of it in MSN. No. High potential of East Coast tsunami. Nothing to see here. I don't like free speech for women. You're just trying to get your wife to smack you upside the head, aren't you? If we raise the alarm on every little thing that happens, when it comes time that we really need to raise the alarm, what's going to really happen? Think about that. I don't know why you guys keep asking that. Why is that important? Whether I have or have not. It's funny, you know, when I first started my YouTube channel, no one asked me if I had the flu shot. But I did get the flu. And I have worked for a company that mandated the flu shot. I guess people are curious, because if I did get the jab, people are like, oh, well, you know, I got the jab, so that makes me feel better. Or if I say I didn't get the jab, people are like, wow, Steve's an idiot. Or we might say it already. Or it might be like, wow, I'm with you, man. You know, again, echo chamber. You want to echo what you think is right? Now, if you want to ask me privately, I may or may not tell you, because to me it's not important. I have my thoughts on that, and thanks to Google free speech, I will not be talking about my thoughts on that. Did I get my last tetanus booster? I don't think so. Last tetanus shot I had was when I had a board that had a nail on it, and I went to throw it, and the nail went right in the hand. It was rusty. So I went to the doctor, and I'm like, yeah, we better top you off there. And that's kind of what it is. My body, my choice, right. You think it's very important, RD? Well, then I'll tell you privately. I agree with that, Chucky. But there's not much I can do about it. Look, all I can tell you is prepare for the future. Make sure your numbers are up to par. Kill all your debt, one way or another. And make sure you got enough food and supplies to protect yourself and to protect your family. That's it. You should be doing that anyways. These are all common sense things that can be done regardless of what the external circumstances are. You should keep your debt low. You know, now rich people, they manipulate debt to make them money, which is fine. That's a thing. But most of us don't have that skill set or that leverage. And be prepared to lose. Be prepared for losses. Be prepared for things not going your way. Like, for example, I booked this load knowing full well that this may happen. Especially when I show up at the shipper and there's a bunch of us going to the same place. If a tsunami happens now, how many people will hear because they now lump all news and the propaganda and just shut off all news? Now it will be too late when they do hear about it. Ryan, I've made that point too. You can't shut all the news out, and you know that there is some believable truths out there. Was 18, had to go in the army for my number, got shot, and they didn't even bother to ask if I wanted them. No discussion wanted. They gave me a tetanus shot last year. I was like, I burnt myself. I didn't step on a rusty nail. Why am I wanting to imitate James Best? For what? How am I imitating him? Free speech is not gone. Why should I not imitate James Best? He's sitting at home, running his carrier, getting people buying him stuff, and people giving him money on super chats. I think might not be a bad way to go. But Thomas is right. I should end this live feed. It doesn't need to be long. We've been at this for almost 2 hours. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the super chats you've given, everybody. And I appreciate everybody watching and listening and helping me kill 2 hours here at this receiver that hopefully will not trash my next load. But if it does, I go to the truck stop and I book something else. No big deal. Will it suck? Kinda. But it just makes for a long day. At least it's nice. See, here's the thing. Gratitude. At least it's nice out. I've had this good discussion. It's a beautiful day. It's not even that smelly here. I'm in the section where it's not very noisy. And, you know, and I'm not too much in a hurry. If I lose my next load, it's not that big of a deal. Because I've set it up that way. So, you have to take care of yourselves, and then that way you can take care of each other. If someone's struggling, give them a lift up. Give them a hand. Whether it be advice, financial, and be willing to take advice. Be willing to take the criticism. Have some thick skin. Don't let your emotions rule your world. You are to serve. Emotions are there to serve you. You are not to serve your emotions. They are a tool, not your master. Well, Thomas Wilson, he just did a live feed just Saturday, and he did not have a vest on, and I have to wear the vest. It's required by law here. It's a mandate that I have to wear this vest. And I'm wearing my Schneider shirt, so I'm going old school here. So, guys, take it easy. Be good. Be safe. Be prepared. Be alert. And most importantly, be happy. Peace.